Hello YouTube, and welcome back to another part of the BMI calculator tutorial. And today hopefully we'll be able to complete the result screen. So the last time we built up and rigged up these so that they work. We finished up with the slider, and then we had this calculate button that navigates us to the result screen. So we are going to focus on building up that result screen in this part. So the last time, this was the simple setup for the result screen that just shows a safe area, scaffold, the app bar, and then just this text so that we could see what is there. So we are going to start making some changes. So with the app bar, I'm just going to give it a title. So I'm going to call for the title property, and this is going to be a constant. So let's say const, and then we need some text. And to remember what I call this, so let me make a reference to this. So we're going to call that a BMI calculator. Okay, so inside there we're going to say BMI calc. Let me just complete that. Then what I also like to do is center this title, because why not? It looks a lot better that way. So I'm going to save this, and then there we go, we have the BMI centered. Then we are going to give this a background color, and we are going to use the color we've been using all along. VS Code. Okay, so theme.of. Then we can go ahead and then call the primary color that we've been using, and then we get that same uniform color. So I think for the app bar, that's fine. So we can go into the body, and if we look at the design, we do have the body with some patterns. Okay, we do have some pattern around this, so 25 all around, and then we have our text, this container here, and then the button. This is quite fairly easy to do, so let's go ahead and then do it. So I'm going to get rid of this. Let me just get rid of the comma too. And then I'm going to give the body a pattern, and then the pattern here, of course, is just going to be edge insets all. So normally I would have made this a const, but because we are using the util package, I'm not going to do that. So edge insets.all, and we are going to give this 16 pixels, so 16.sp. And then over here it doesn't know this, so let me try and then import this package here. Okay, and put a comma here, and then I'll put another comma here, and then let me format this. I think there are just too many commas. I think sometimes it's a lot better when the thing is short and you just don't add that other comma here. Makes it a lot cleaner. Okay, then the child of this pattern is going to be a column. Okay, and we know columns will definitely take some children, so need to get rid of these pop-ups. So if you look at the design, the first child of the column is this text, your result. Actually, let me just make a copy of it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to give this a text, and then inside here I'm going to paste what I copied, your result. And let me just style this quickly, okay, because I don't want this to be looking weird. And let me just do this now so that I can what do you call it, later on copy this if I need to. So we know this is going to be a text style, and this text style I'm going to go with a font size of font size 16, because I know that's what I've been using for that. So 16 sp, and the font weight was bold, so let's go for font weight fw, font weight.bold, and I think we use the same color. So the color here, we're going to use the same theme.of context, then we will call that same primary color, and let me put in a comma here. I need color, And the color here is going to be that same color, so let's just grab that from our theme, and then let's grab the primary color. So I just want to get the color out so that when I save this, we can see what we've done so far, as you can see. Okay, so we have this there. So now that we have the primary color set and we can see what we have, we can go ahead and give this some border radius. Okay, and this is about 14 here. Now along the way, I might just make some design choices, even though I have my design already, but don't get into that habit of doing that. It's just my mind and all the stuff that it does. Okay, so we can go ahead and then give the border radius, and then over there is 14. I don't know whether I'll stick to 14, but let's see. We just have to enter it, and then if I can spell. So we have the border radius, and this border radius is going to be border radius dot the circular type, and then let's go with the 14. You know what, just for that I'm going to add that, and then we cannot use the same primary color, so what I'm going to do for now is just give this a colors dot white, and then save this. Let's see what we have. So we have the normal text going on in there. Then the next thing in our design is the other text, which is 19.5. That's just a placeholder text. Okay, so nothing to worry about. So after this, I could probably just make a copy of this text. So I'm just putting in commas so that I can format this a little bit better. So I'm going to grab this text widget, and I'm just going to make a copy of it. But before I paste it, I'm going to need some sort of sized box. Okay, so I'm going to use sized box, and I'm going to provide some spacing. But you know what, before that, I'm just going to ignore that space, and I'm going to paste this in there for the meantime. And this is a normal that sounded weird, but it is 19.5, and I believe that text is a little bit bigger. So this text right here is 96 per the design. So I'm going to try my best to see if I can replicate the 96 and save this. So right there, and then the last but one, we have the explanation text right here. So literally you can see this design is just text. And what we could do is we could extract one of these, because all we are doing is we have text, then the text has a specific thing it should say, so this, and if you look at it, the things we are changing are just the font sizes being bold or not, and then the color. So when you find yourself doing this, like we've done for a lot of the things, like in the home screen where we created our own buttons, our own BMI card, things like that, when you are repeating a lot of things like that, you should consider like creating a widget that you just put those things in there, else we are just repeating similar things. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, instead of continuing in this direction, I'm going to extract this text widget. Okay, so selecting the text widget, or just clicking on it, I'm going to press Ctrl+, and I'm going to say extract widget. Now the hard part comes in naming this, so I'm just going to call this result text. I hope I can remember to use it. Now this result text is down here. Now what are the things that we've been configuring about this? So we know that we do have the string, which is going to be the title, so where we had normal and all of that. And then another thing we were changing is the font size. So font sizes are mainly doubles, so we're going to go with another final property, and this is going to be a double of you know what, let me just call it font size better to be explicit than wonder what I have just typed there. Then what is the other thing we're changing here? I think the color is one. So for color, we can say final and then color, and then we can just call this color also. And I don't know if that's about it. So I think the font weight also, because not everything is bold, as you can see. Let me just see. Yeah, not everything is bold, so we need to find a way of configuring this. So you can see this is a type font weight, so we can equally say final font weight, and then we can call this font weight, if I can spell, something like so. And we just need to add these to our constructor, and then we are going to make them required. Let me just make sure we can see everything. Format this. Okay, so let's go ahead and start fixing this in. So we know that this text is going to be the title, and then the font size here is going to be the font size, and then the font weight here is going to be our font weight that we will provide, and then the color is going to be the color. Okay, so now that we've configured this, we can go ahead and then supply that to this. So one of the first things is our title, and that was normal, so normal in all caps. Then we need to also provide the font size of that, and the font size of this I believe was 36, and then the font weight, we went with font weight dot bold, and the last parameter was the color. We went with colors dot white. Okay, and it wants to be a const, and no problem, we can make it a const. Oops, now I cannot see what I've typed. Okay, so if I save this, theoretically nothing should change, and so I can just grab this results text and replace it with this and make some changes here. So instead of, I know this may come back to bite me, but I'm just going to put this here for the meantime and get rid of this just to make sure it is happy. And then this here is the 19.5, and then the font size here was 96 I believe, and then the font here bold, colors white. We save this, and then there we go. So we can clearly see what we've done. So I'm going to ignore spaces for now, and just, I thought I had the copied text here, so I'm going to grab this and I'm going to paste this here, and this is going to be the explanation. So the title here is going to be explanation, and I believe that's all in caps. I just do not remember the font size, so I have to check that. So explanation is 16. So most of the time I tend to use 16. I think that's about the default font size. And the font weight I believe is bold. So let's save this, see what we have. So that's the explanation. And then the actual explanation comes in. So while I'm here, let me just grab this, and then I probably should have, so let me try this, and that works. So if you've not done this, or you don't know what I did, normally when you want to duplicate something, so if I place my pointer here and I press Shift Alt down arrow, is going to make a copy of that. So I wanted the entire result text, so I selected it and I held Shift Alt down arrow to make a duplicate of that. So over here, this entire thing is going to be all of this, then I believe it's also 16, so font size 16, yeah, and that's not bold, so we'll make some changes to it. So font size 16, and then here we can go with let's say of the const, and then save this. Let's see what we have. Now I'm fine. I'm okay with that. Then we are almost done with this. Just to make sure I'm at the right place. So over here we are going to have let me just make sure I'm in the right place. So this is the container and this is the column. So outside of the container we need to create the button. So I'm going to for now just start creating the button. So I'm going to use a sized box, not a 6th box, and then I'm going to, just like I did earlier with the other button here. Okay, so I cannot remember what this BMI button is. I'm now starting to wonder what button this is, so let me go back to the home screen. And what is this BMI button? Oh, sorry guys. So the BMI button is literally this, so I cannot use that. But we can kind of see we need a similar button, just like what we created the same button. We need a if not the same, but a similar configuration. Okay, so why don't we extract this and then use that same button instead of writing this entire thing? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to extract this widget. So extract widget, and I'm going to call it you know what, I don't have any name, so I'm just going to call it custom button. I'm going to call it that, and the things I need to configure is mainly, if I'm not mistaken, the text and the unpressed, right? Yeah, the unpressed. So what I'm going to do here is final, and then we are going to have a string, and we are going to have title, and then we are going to have final. It's going to be a function, and we've seen this already, and then we'll call this unpressed, and then we are going to add all final parameters, format this, and if I'm not mistaken, that's just about it. So the unpressed here, I'm actually going to copy this entire navigator part so that I don't have to type it. It's a bit painful to type, and I'll get rid of this part, and then I'll pass it the unpressed. When we put in the unpressed here, we do have this problem, and actually the problem is coming from here. So this unpressed here is a void function, and the type I should be using here is a void callback, and basically it's void callback is used for functions that do not return like anything. They have no arguments, and that's exactly what we need. So it should rather be a void callback and not a function. So yeah, so and then we have to change this to the title also, and yeah, I think that's fine. So we can go back to the home screen. In fact, we're already in the home screen, and then we can make those changes. So over here we need to pass in the title, and then the title here was calculate, I believe. So we are going to put in calculate in all its glory, calculate. And then the next thing was the unpressed, and then here, oops, the next thing was the unpressed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the navigator. I thought I copied this earlier. VS Code go away, so I just have to do this. So navigator dot push. So let's go for push, and then we know this is going to be a material page route. Just looking for my delete key. Okay, so I'm done typing all of that. Didn't want to bore you with all of that. So we can save this and go back and make sure we haven't crashed this. So click on this, we still get back here. So in the spirit of that, we can head back to the results screen, and then I don't remember what I was actually doing here. So you know what, I'm going to get rid of this for the meantime, and I'm going to call that button. So we called it a custom button. So before I can use it here, I'll have to put that in its own file. So let me go back to the home screen, and I'm going to grab the custom button. All right, right here, I'm going to cut it. I'm going to create a new file for now, and then call it custom underscore button dot dat, and I'm going to paste this in here, and then just import the imports. So I need the material, and I also need the ScreenUtil, and I believe that's about that. Then I can come back here and then make the import for this. Then so we can go back to the results screen if I can find it, and then we can call the custom button, come on. So that's our custom button. We need to give it a title. So I don't remember what we put there. Was it back? Yeah, back. So just for the sake of it, we just put in our back, and then we have the next part, which is the unpressed, and then this unpressed is simply going to be a navigator.pop. So navigator, oops, spelling that wrongly, navigator.pop, and we are going to pop that context. So if you've never used pop before, this is just saying so if I can make this, okay, no space, no problem. If I can make this a simple explanation, so the way Flutter navigation works is when I hit calculate, the result page is placed on top of this BMI calculator. So this is on top of the BMI, the first page we saw. So if we don't pop, and pop is just saying remove this, like destroy, get rid of it, so that we just have all in this here. Okay, if we don't do that, then we will just be stacking up pages. So for example, if I hit calculate and I back without the pop, and let's say I say push back, then I'll just be stacking up. So imagine we have papers of this first page, and then this. I'll just be putting the first page, I'll put the second page on top, I'll put the first page on top, I'll put the second page on top. I'll have stacks of that. Okay, so you want to get rid of all pages you don't need so that you can free up some memory. So with the pop, when I say back, that result page is actually destroyed. It's not there again until I calculate again, then it brings me back that page. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So let's finalize this. So yeah, so there are quite a number of ways I could fix this, and I'm probably thinking of using a spacer. So what I'm going to do is call in a spacer right here, and I'm going to make this a const, and then save this, and then we have that. I'm just looking at it to see whether it makes sense. What if we don't use a spacer? So I'm going to save this, and then let me go back to the main column. So I believe this is the main column, and we say main axis alignment dot space evenly. This looks funny in a way. So if I use this rather, then what I can do is, so at this point you can just ignore me. I'm just playing around. You need to have fun sometimes. I can use a size box, so let's see if this will work. It's the fun part about Flutter, being able to change things quickly. And in the height here, let's go with like a 50 to 50 something. You know what, I could just look at the design. So from this to this guy, 78. Wow, that's a lot of space. I doubt that will work for us here, but let's see. So I'm going to go with 78.h, and you expected, okay, I didn't have a comma here. Comma please. I hope you heard how I had to slam my keyboard to get it out there. So moment of truth, I'm going to save this, and yeah, that's fine. It's just like the design. Okay, it's just like what we have. So before we end this part, I'm going to extract this. Even though this result text is just used here, I'll still kind of get rid of it from this page. I will create a new file, and then I'll call it the result underscore text dot that, and then I'll just import material before I paste this, and I need to import this guy too, and I think that's fine here. So I come back here and I just need to import the result text, and well, what was that? And that's fine. So just to make this a little bit cleaner, I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call this screens, and I'll create another. So